Darius Garland has earned my respect and hopefully has earned yours if he didn't already have it, as the Cavaliers grab a huge win tonight against the New York Knicks. This could be big for the Cavs as Garland stepped up, played well. It wasn't a bad team they faced. This was a playoff-esque matchup, and the Cavaliers get it done 110-104 in New York. Hey everybody, welcome to a Rejoice episode of the Cavs Digest show, podcast, whatever you want to call it. We are pumped up. We are very excited after the Cavaliers go into MSG and take down the New York Knicks 110-104. I stayed up late for this one. I do get up early for work, so I was excited to stay up late for this one. This is what you get when you're with the channel. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to drop down in the comments. Most people that are watching this channel, sharing the videos and whatnot, are not subscribed, so we do ask you to do so to kind of keep along with what's happening. What's happening right now with the Cavaliers is they got a big one from a guy that I've asked a lot of. I talked a ton about Darius Garland in the offseason. We talked so much about what he needs to do this season. Number one was consistency. Number two was show up in big moments and be a top elite all-star-esque player. He was tonight. He was absolutely terrific against the New York Knicks. From bucket one, Darius Garland went after it, was attacking the hoop, was attacking shots. Defensively, he ended up with a huge night. We'll get into those stats. We'll get into who else played well, and what Kenny Atkinson did to help the Cavaliers take down a Knicks team that usually they have struggled with and not played well against. So again, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned as we finish this one out. Darius Garland, ladies and gentlemen, electric night in a big game. Austin Carr said multiple times during this is a playoff game. They are playing half-court offense. We'll get to that when we talk about Kenny Atkinson, but they were playing, it felt like one of those games 2 years ago, but the Cavaliers got the job done. So we'll start with Garland, his big night, his shining moment against the New York Knicks. Garland, 34 points. Let's get to defense, guys. 2 steals, 2 blocks. He was 12 of 19 shooting. He was 5 of 8 from 3. That's his first career game with 32 and 2. You felt like he had that type of game, not only stat-wise, but eye test, and he knocked down huge shots. Donovan Mitchell was out from about the 6 or 7 minute mark till about the 3 minute mark, and Darius Garland was knocking down huge shots, making tough passes that, you know, he's going to have to work that out because guys were bobbling that, not quite ready for those, but man, this was so big. This was so big. And for a guy that's asked a lot of Darius Garland, hasn't been real excited to have him back out on the floor. Even bashed him in 2 out of those 3 opening games. He finally came alive on Saturday. Looked damn good. Played well all over the floor. Passed well. Hit huge shots. He was not bothered by Hart or Brunson. Hart's been a big just nuisance for him. He hasn't played well against him. And you see, you know, the Knicks have a ton of defenders, lengthy defenders, hustle defenders. Anunoby, Bridges flying all over the floor, playing really, really well. And in the clutch, one of those blocks on that stat there was in the clutch. Darius Garland was terrific. He was very, very good. He was an all-star-esque player. It felt that way. Eye test and stat sheet. Got to keep it up. Got to be consistent. If you can get that 23 to 25 points per game, 5 assists, a little bit of a difference maker on defense, I think that's all anybody can ask for from Garland. Again, you gotta take that moment. I was wrong. Take that moment. I missed on this take. We're very early, 4 games in, but man, Garland was great tonight. The Cavaliers had to change up how they did things. They had to make a statement, and bucket one, Darius Garland came flying through the hole, laid it up in. He hit huge threes, jumpers. I mean, you name it. He had tip passes, steals, knockaway balls. He was all over the place. He looked energized and he looked confident, and that's the kind of Darius Garland we want all season long for the Cavaliers, especially in the playoffs. Now, for the rest of the team, Donovan Mitchell was great. He was really, really good in this one. 25 points, 5 rebounds. You know, he plays well in New York. The Knicks don't like dealing with him, and I think part of the reason Garland played well is they focused on him. Didn't matter. Still hit some really, really good shots. And again, he's a superstar for a reason because you know in a game like this, he's going to show up. So even when Garland had quite the night, dude just showed up. Just played really, really well. again, props to him. Always plays well every single night. Athletic, offense, defense, getting all over the floor, plays well in New York. I mean, just it's one of those times where you really do have to sit back and the Cavaliers have a top 10 NBA player playing for them every single night. There's not, knock on wood, there's no injury issue here. There's no diva moment for him anymore. He's locked up under contract. He's a leader. He's a mature player and a mature person. You have to take it in, sit down, and reel that in. Enjoy this season because you have Donovan Mitchell. I think this was an enjoyable watch for Donovan Mitchell too, not just Darius Garland. Let's talk about what Kenny Atkinson did. Atkinson pushed pace all off season long for Evan Mobley, for the Cavaliers. Pushed, hey, we're going to run. We need to run. We have to do it more. We really have to get after it. Talked pace. Talked a lot about pace. Even pregame, he talked to John Michaels and said, okay, we pushed the pace well. We're scoring at a high rate. I believe they're at just under 130 points per game, first in the NBA to start off the season. But we can do more. We can get those guys moving more. That's not how this game had to be, and it's not what he decided to do, and I loved it. He knew this was a half-court battle, and he decided, all right, that's how we're going to play, and the Cavaliers outmatched the New York Knicks in their own type of basketball. They were down 13. It looked lost. The offense was not playing well, and they adjusted. So, again, props to Atkinson on that side of things because he did that. But props to these two guys, the big men right there, Mobley and Allen. They are a difference maker for the Cavs right now. They are a weapon other teams don't have. The Knicks had to trade for Karl Anthony Towns because they lost Hartenstein and Mitchell Robinson isn't healthy. And that was what they hoped to bring against the Celtics before Allen got hurt, was this big man tandem. They were terrific. I want to shout out Karis LeVert, who adapted, got physical, got lengthy, knocked balls away, grabbed second chance rebounds. When the Cavaliers were down 13, you had Josh Hart flying around Jarrett Allen and grabbing rebounds. That stopped in the second half. The Cavaliers adjusted. George Niang started to hit shots. Sam Merrill started to hustle a little bit more on defense. Those balls loose up in the air were no longer getting snagged by Josh Hart. They were getting either tipped or snagged by the Cavaliers. They adjusted and they beat the Knicks at their own game. Drop down into the comments. What do you think? Was this the game where Darius Garland not only earned my respect, maybe your respect as a fan, maybe the NBA's respect, but is he going to turn it on from here? Is this the Darius Garland we're going to see the rest of the year? Is this the Cleveland Cavaliers we're going to see the rest of the years? Not only did they beat the Knicks at their own game, but can they adjust to different teams and make it happen for themselves? Great night for the Cavaliers and a great night to subscribe to Cavs Digest.